down to the question, what if?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back today. And well, happy holidays to Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. Uh, Cue the music. And with that, we had another episode of What If today. First off, Stanford, how was your holiday today?
Hey, it's been a great day. Spent it with family and really, really a nice day. How about for you, my friend?
Pretty good. Got a. It was a very podcast cinephile heavy Christmas this year. So it, it helped with making this a little bit better for us. But yeah, I didn't have any people breaking into a high rise or anything like that. So we're gonna have to come out to the coast, have a few laughs or anything
Yeah.
like that. But
Right, exactly.
we did watch Home Alone.
Oh,
And
outstanding. Okay.
I did watch this.
Yes,
so,
I did too. This morning before I went off on the family
Nice.
activities, I watched this.
And then, so this episode it's the fourth one of season 2. It's what if Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster. And I believe, so when this episode was originally created for season 1, it was going to be called What If Gamora Killed Thanos? So they kind of flipped that around a little bit. Now, this was also the first time they did it previously on, too, to kind of give you context for like kind of where this takes place, I guess. So with this one, it's framed as this being Tony's story, but what pushes it to be Gamora's story. So what did you kind of think of how they kind of restructured or aimed this one at you placing it in season 2 when it was originally conceived for season 1?
Yeah. It's a really good question, Mark. I mean, I really liked the episode a lot. And I thought it was very interesting. I guess partly just because of the time it was placed in. Because since it was like partly, OG Avengers, partly Thor Ragnarok, right? And then so I liked it. I thought that it also struck the right tone with its humor, and then also with the drama of it all, because Gamora's stuff's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Tony's is too. I mean, he's kind of stripped away from his life and his family and stuff, but from Pepper. But anyway, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was very, very, very interesting take. It really worked. It worked for me. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was definitely was an interesting idea for an episode too, like because obviously so the framing here too, like storyline wise, is like near the end of the battle of the first Avengers film, after Tony throws the nuke back out through the portal, and then he starts falling back to Earth, and he falls back through the portal to Earth. In this, the portal closes just as he would have continued falling through it, so he gets basically shot through, like, I forget what the names of what they've called them, or like the jump points, I guess, like within the MCU.
These jump
He gets
points,
like bounced around those the same way, kind of like Loki and Thor did within Ragnarok, and how they showed up on Sakaar. And in this too, because it's a few years prior to like when Thor Ragnarok would have taken place, we still see Korg there. We still see Valkyrie there, so there's still a little bit of that going on. And then since this is pre Guardians of the Galaxy, it's pre Guardian Gamora, that we kind of got a little bit of that with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Avengers Endgame, kind of like that era Gamora, where it's still this Gamora that's like very much working for Thanos. So we see that in this episode too, which I thought was interesting, and like how she was also there to take out Tony because of basically them winning like that Battle of New York from like what happens in the first Avengers film. But I liked also it showed Tony's heroism in this too, where and also where it was like heroism for like spite. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you that I can save this planet too,
Yeah.
before I go back to my own back to
Hey,
Earth." So I
I'm
thought
gonna
that was
leave.
interesting.
Yeah, I did too. I'm gonna leave this place, better than where I found it. When I got here,
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting because it's a combination of like Tony Stark bravado, but also like Tony Stark's goodness.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and like what we've been kind of talking about too with like some of these past episodes is the voice talent they've brought back in for these.
yeah.
So the returning like live action on screen characters like reprising the roles. So we had Josh Brolin coming back in as Thanos here. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. Taika Waititi again as Korg. Rachel House as Topaz. And then
Tessa
pretty.
Thompson.
Oh
I think
yeah,
you
Tessa
mentioned, yeah,
Thompson as Valkyrie.
is Valkyrie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was looking at it in like a alphabetical order, so she was all the way there at the bottom. And then we had Mick Wenger coming in to voice Tony Stark, who also voiced him in yesterday's episode for the like Happy Hogan Save Christmas. And I'm pretty sure he voiced Tony in the first season of
yeah.
What If as well too. And then Cynthia K. McWilliams did the voice of Gamora, who also did it in the first season of What If as well too. So, and I think Mick Wenger does like a pretty good job of
You too.
sounding like Tony Stark, but
Yeah.
not like he's doing like a Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
impersonation.
I think so too. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, which is like a fine line of sounding like the character, but not trying to sound like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, not like
doing the
mimic or
character.
do an impression or impersonation. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And so like in this episode too, is there anything that kind of stood out to you as far as like sequences or any jokes or
Yes. So
references that you liked?
what I loved really was the death race, which feels like it's like the chariot race from Ben-Hur on just absolute steroids and just and a kick. I mean, it's one of the things that's like combination of terrifying and hilarious.
Yeah.
And I loved any iteration of that, particularly the one that kind of that big battle where the stakes are really high between Tony and the Grandmaster. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting too because at this point too, Tony would have already went through like his origin, like from the Iron Man film, like building his like the Mark One and stuff in there. And then here, like they kind of like kind of redo that scene a little bit with like creating like his Sakaar armor, where it's almost like a combination of like the Hulkbuster mixed with like his Grand Prix race car from Iron Man 2.
Yes.
So he's almost like a transformer now at this point, at least.
Yeah, it feels very Transformer like too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess at least with the technology that would have been maybe available to him on Sakaar, he would have been able to do that. So I thought that was kind of interesting in how he did that too, and a lot of use of like basically like on off switching, like power upping with his arc reactor.
With his arc reactor,
to take the like the basically like I don't know what they call them, but like like the things that would like tase them on their necks, to get rid of that. And the thing I thought was funny too is they put Tony and Valkyrie in what I'm assuming was like later on in Ragnarok would have been Hulk's room, because it's like this bedroom and whatnot.
Yeah, this bedroom.
There's a very weird joke with Korg in there too, where he's like, which I was like, that's kind of creepy, Korg. Or he's sitting there, he's like,
it was creepy.
He's like, no one's here. This is just a rock with eyes. I was
like he was thinking something was gonna happen too. It's like it's almost like this honeymoon suite or something.
Yeah, it's like Korg. Yeah, but yeah. And then they did it in the last episode, and I know this was originally written for season 1, but Another rock paper scissors joke with Korg.
Yes.
And they also did the basically, like Korg doing the Hulk smash like with the people in this too. So I mean that's either like a fun animation cycle to do with that they did in here, or they
Yeah.
just brought it up again this with, which I thought it was fun.
It was fun.
And there's a
I
nice
like.
little good.
Oh, please, after you.
I was just gonna say there's a nice little nod to like that slow mo walk that Valkyrie does in
Yes.
Ragnarok, where I almost assume it like that it's just like they animated like over.
Yes, and just how this
doing
like
that walk.
exactly, just how this looks. This is just an animated tribute, yeah.
Yeah.
A rotoscope or whatever, kind of
Yeah.
of that whole sequence from the movie. I really liked Tony Stark's new or Iron Man suit that he built, in like 10 seconds, or at least of our viewing time.
Well, time works different, Sakaar.
That's right. Not a criticism. It was just so cool, that he was able to build this, really awesome new suit.
Yeah, I agree. And then I really liked in here too with Topaz and the Grandmaster, like the
Topaz.
Again, like I just wonder like how much is that is just Jeff Goldblum, how much of that is written, and what is the combination of both of those within this? Because especially with it being animated, there's definitely probably a little less like leash that they can give him like leeway on to do that with. Yeah. But I thought like a lot of his stuff in here was really funny.
It just felt very ad lib, didn't it? I mean, it just felt really kind of, I guess, more natural than something that was scripted. That was funny. Funny.
If it was all, I mean, if most of that was written, that's very good writing then to make it feel ad libbed without it actually being ad libbed was pretty good.
Well, and Mark, like we've been talking about, each one of these, for me, it's just been, I've just enjoyed having these characters come back, like the Grandmaster, that just we haven't seen for a while or whatnot, and that's been very, for me, that's been part of the enjoyment of it.
Yeah. Now, like in this too, some of the other stuff I thought was kind of funny was there's the champion in this version of Sakaar is Snuffy, or that Korg calls him, which is like this huge alien, kind of like he mixed like Snuffleupagus with like, I don't recall what like the I think they're pretty just close to it. It's just the elephants from Middle Earth. It's kind of like that's a mixture of that.
Perfect description.
But I thought that was pretty great. And then like all the stuff with the chinchillas, because they said we used to throw rotten food, but because there's a famine, now we throw chinchillas. And there's another good Korg scene too. He's like he reminds me of my friend Stuart, so I shall call him Nikos.
Korg.
So something about like he's like he's pooping in my hand and I do not like it and he will not stop.
Yeah.
Please make him. So there's been a lot of great stuff with Korg in this season.
The humor with Korg has been solid. Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else that kind of like stood out to you as far as some of the other stuff like within this episode that we got?
Well, I'm forgetting the total Wizard of Oz moment. I mean, I love how Tony Stark was referring to him, referring to the Grandmaster as the wizard, and then the stick touches the Grandmaster, which melts him, and again, the total Wicked Witch of the West thing. But funny, and and then of course this one has the bonus scene or the bumper or whatever you want to call it, right?
Oh yeah, this is the first one that's had the full like on tag scene to it, because like the last episode we got the tag like audio with Darcy, but this one had the first like scene.
Yeah, so stay through the first part of the end credits.
Yeah, so if you didn't, go back and watch.
Yeah, go back and watch.
Because we'll just say you might need a mop and bucket.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I liked it. Kind of moved along at a like a clip too. It was very
Really,
well paced,
the
I thought.
pacing of it was really, yeah, it was good, fast.
Which
So it
I mean,
worked.
in the context of like what the episode was about with the, which I thought was interesting too, with because like when Hulk's there, it's like a fighting gladiatorial match. So I thought it was interesting that like now, while Tony's there, it's almost like a match that fits like his kind of skills and qualifications. Because if it had been just a gladiatorial thing, like I mean, I guess he could have done it with like a suit that it could have made for that. But like this ended up fitting more like his own thing with doing the race with that, just because we've already seen him do that in Iron Man 2. So I
Yeah,
thought that it was kind of interesting how between like whether who shows up there, how it fits their skill set at that point.
yeah,
I also liked that Tony referenced Coulson here. He didn't say his
yes,
name, but he's like, I had friends that like died because of that. And I thought they did a really good job with Tony in here too, like where because of like how this happened to him within this universe, he almost is way closer to the Tony in Endgame, at least mindset wise, because of like what he's now gone through.
yeah,
He kind of he's kind of like the Loki in the Loki Disney Plus series, how he kind of has to fast forward through his character development by watching like all the stuff that happened to the
yeah,
one that had his throat um, snapped essentially by Thanos, uh, and has that character development through that, and then has his own character arc within that series. I feel like if we were to follow this Tony, it would kind of be like a similar kind of thing where he kind of was fast forwarded a bit to like where he is mindset wise and to like where he would be. So there's maybe in this version. Well, I mean, obviously there's not going to be Infinity War or Endgame because Thanos is gone. So there's also not going to be a Civil War or anything like that in this one
yeah,
probably.
yeah,
So that's interesting too. And if people didn't remember, like where this episode ends is where we pick up with because of the timey wimeyness of the Watcher and this. It's where we pick up with Tony and Gamora in that finale episode of season one. That's after where what we see Gamora do at the end of this episode. So if you want
yeah,
to see it
yeah,
chronologically, you can watch this episode, then go back to that, and then you'll kind of have it at least timeline wise for that Gamora, like how
yes.
those
Before that,
events
Gamora, this particular
end up
Gamora
happen.
thread, right, or storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, was before we move on to kind of teasing what'll be tomorrow's stuff. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk on before we move on?
Just again, how much I love the death race. It constantly mentioned combination of Ben-Hur, which also I thought there was some elements of the Phantom Menace in it.
Yeah.
But of course, the Phantom Menace I think was playing homage to Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
So there was
But
that.
a little bit of Mad Max.
Yes, Mad Max, and also maybe just because I've got Disney on the brain, but it kind of Sugar Rush from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
I guess any kind of like road racing,
Yeah.
video game or
Even a little bit of Ready Player One with
yes,
some of the stuff in that too.
exactly.
So all
With
the
all the
all the
different,
things.
yeah, all the things.
But so
Right, yeah, good
that
stuff.
that was what if Tony Stark ran into the Grandmaster. And tomorrow's is going to be the Hydra Stopper episode. So this is where we'll get Captain Carter again.
Captain Carter.
So it'll be what if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stopper. So that one I'm looking forward to because I feel like that one is maybe going to start the line through the rest of this season as far as
Yeah, I wondered about
like
that too, Mark.
like what we've kind of been talking about with how that the first season kind of had like a backdoor like path that we didn't see that they were all connected until like the end of that season. So if this season maybe follows a similar nature to that, I think it'll start with the Captain Carter one too, because that's kind of where we left off with her at the end of season 1, it seems like. And then maybe some of the stuff outside of maybe Gamora and Tony in this one, because we already caught back up with them in the past, but which was their future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I like Captain Carter. I like Haley Atwell as that character. It was cool to see her in live action in the Multiverse of Madness. It wasn't cool to see her get bisected, but it was cool to see her
I know, right?
doing that in that movie.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that one tomorrow. How about you?
Oh, dude, I can't wait. It's like it's been so much fun. It's like I wake up in the morning like, I'm watching What If before I get on with my day.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying how they're doing this. I don't know if it's like a release kind of situation that's going to fit like really anything else that they would do, and like outside of like doing it at this time of year where a lot of people may have time off, where it's kind of like a thing, like an event thing with it. But it was kind of a cool idea to release it in this way this year. And then it's not animated, but with Echo, when that comes out next year, they're dropping all 5 of those at the same time. So I guess maybe they're kind of testing
trying different
ways and methods of releasing stuff. So I'm still a fan of the week to week stuff, just because that way it gives you a little bit more time to savor it and whatnot. It works with this just because it is like an anthology thing, so it doesn't need necessarily all of that same kind of time as like if like a serialized, but it is what it is with that. But so with that, we'll start to wrap up here. But that will do it for this episode. Tomorrow we will be back with the next coverage, which will be, like we said, for What If Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper. So we'll be back for that tomorrow, and if you have been enjoying these, you can follow past episodes we've done of everything else at Animation Fascination. I always get that tongue-tied now. AnimationFascination.net is where you can find all of our past episodes, and then once all of these episodes are put together into a conglomerated audio episode, that's where they will be at that point. But for myself, for Mr. Sanford Clark, we wish everybody a very happy Christmas and happy holidays, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye.